conforming to the laws of nature, not seeking for peculiarity. The so-called natural law refers to the law that exists within everything in the nature and which determines its own orderly operation and the development trend. For example, the movement of the solar system along the galaxy and the movement of the stars within the solar system are all natural laws. Comet appear in the visible space of the Earth every 76, is also a law, namely the natural law. The seasonal and climate change on the Earth follows the nature law. Plant germination, growth and flowering, and bearing fruits also complies the laws of nature. The birth, growth, aging and death of the animals are the natural law. People eat and drink, pee and poo, work at daytime and rest at night are the reflection of natural law. Everything in the universe will live in accordance with the laws of nature and will die if violating the natural law. The Earth will turn into dust and ashes if flying out of the solar system. If a farmer sows in autumn, he will not have harvest. People will surely die if they don't eat, drink, pee and poo. This is the rule and this is the law. One of the main reasons for people to get sick is due to the violation of laws of nature. The special events encountered in a person's life is also mainly due to the violation of the laws of nature. The best life is the life complies with the law of nature. One should not seek for exception and peculiarity. However, most people have the desire of seeking exception and being outstanding unconsciously. Some of them even try to control the forces of nature and have exceptional functions. If this kind desire is just kept in their mind, then it belongs to the normal phenomenon. However, if it is implemented in action, it belongs to the abnormal phenomenon. Abnormal phenomenon is against the law of nature, and it does more harm than good. It may distort the normal mental activities, affect the person's normal life. I talked about exceptional function many times, but my purpose is to show the thought of super-time and space can achieve a certain kind of state, and I did not encourage anyone give up basic self-improvement, and to specialize in exceptional function. Being transcendent does not mean one has to have exceptional functions. Self-refinery and self-improvement is not for obtaining exceptional functions either. All the achievements and ways with the sole purpose to pursue the exceptional functions will lead people into the astray and evil path. After China's reform and opening up, there have been waves of activity concerning refinery and improvement which has its positive effect. But the negative effect is also there, for the key is against the law of nature. Therefore, though the people involved in the practice were millions upon millions, few has gained exceptional functions, even fewer understand the Tao. The ultimate goal of life should be positioned in pursuit of perfect human nature and the goal of how to extend life in a higher life space. Exceptional functions are merely helpless in reaching this goal. Anyone that wants to take the shortcut will eventually find that they are wasting time. Remember, more haste, less speed. We are human beings, so first we must behave according to the laws of nature, and we have to eat and drink, pee and poo, study, work and rest and have fun and go through the process of birth, death, illness and old age. On this basis, we can realize transcending and realize our dreams. To achieve doctorate, one must first lay a good foundation from primary school, high school, college and graduate student course. Success comes from hard work. So, first we must behave as an ordinary people, common and take back the messy and scattered and floated mind. Set your mind, find the direction, follow the nature and you will succeed. Never and ever pursue exceptions, otherwise, you will be lost and caught by the devil. Love life, love work. Life refers to the activity ability of an organism. The thinking ability, labor ability, and all other activities including talking, walking, eating, blinking, tickling are the expression of life forms. Life is 1 + 1 = 1. The first one refers to the physical flesh and the other one refers to the spiritual entity. The combination of the two parts of flesh and spiritual entity constitute a complete life. Flesh without the spiritual entity is a dead body, and the spiritual entity without flesh cannot move in the three-dimensional space. Flesh is like a computer's hardware, and spiritual entity is like the computer's software. Without software, the best computer can be nothing but useless trash. Therefore, the flesh is the carrier, namely the vehicle of the spiritual entity, and the latter is the true essence of life. Our flesh is given by our parents, but our spiritual entity is given by the greatest Creator. Therefore, love life is to protect our flesh, to show respects to our parents, and love spiritual entity, to revere the greatest Creator. Life is above everything. Love life is to respect parents and revere to the greatest Creator. Persecuting life is to contempt to parents, and is to fight against the greatest Creator. Every life is equal. No one's life is nobler than another's life. So, no matter how many sufficient and noble reasons he has get, as long as he brings harm to his own life or others' life, then it is a sin. The people who love life must be the ones who love peace. Every war provoked for the interests of tribe, race, nationality, country, religion, political parties, no matter how noble the reason is to commit crime to human beings. No one has the right to harm other people's life. Death penalty is a kind of crime. Regardless of how heinous and unpardoned the prisoners are, as long as they are arrested and imprisoned and their freedom is confined and their rights of being an average person are deprived, that will be enough. No need to fight ruthless against ruthless, and evil to evil. Abortion is not a crime. One cannot take for granted that the life is formed as soon as the eggs meet the sperm. The life of fetus is only formed 10 days or so in antenatal, and it starts when the spiritual entity from another space enters the fetus flesh through space tunnel by the anode black hole body. Before that, the fetus is just flesh with no spiritual entity. Its activity is the continuation of the maternal parent life. It lives when the parent body lives and dies when the parent body dies. This is like building a house. We lay the foundation, build walls and roofs, install doors and windows. Only when everything is ready and people move in, the house can become a home. We can't regard a deserted house as a home. We surely cannot take a building with only 4 walls and without windows or doors as a home. The first principle of loving life is to revere to the greatest Creator, because the spiritual entity of life comes from the greatest Creator, without which our life will be water without source and tree without root and will be withered at any time. The second principle of loving life is to respect our parents, because our flesh comes from our parents, without whom our life would be spirit that wandering in the other space and impossible to come to this world. In the man's world, we see many people take time and energies in the pursuit of money, fame, and let their parents pass their time lonely and desperately. We also find that a lot of people spend money to worship the gods and Buddha statue, and let their parents to live their last years of life in an isolated and helpless condition. We also know that there are other people burn incense and kneel down to the gods and Buddha from a long distance than to show care and concern by visiting their parents. Respecting your parents is to show gratitude, and to pay back the debts and to fulfill your wishes and to gain perfect human nature. But it is not the purpose of life. The third principle of loving life is to love work. Every activity that creates material and spiritual wealth by using the combination of mind and hands is called work. Material wealth refers to the material entity independent from the consciousness, visible, touchable and useful. The spiritual wealth refers to something that can arouse and encourage in people's heart and spirit and can withstand the test of time and have impact on human beings, such as thoughts, philosophy, literature, painting, music, songs and dance, drama, movies, etc. Working is the noblest human activity to keep healthy in life, gain happiness and survive in the world. All human achievements are the result of labor. Look down upon work or belittle the value of work is the symbol of lacking human nature and the philosophy of parasite's life. Work is mainly embodied in the activities of scientists, engineers and workers, farmers, writers, thinkers, artists, including lyric and music composer, television movie producer, etc. Trim a piece of lawn, boil a pot of cold water, make a dish, make a hairdo, design a style, sew a dress, remove a pile of junk, plant a potted flower, plant a tree, write a novel, cultivate a talented person, make a prescription, and deliver a baby, and others all belong to the category of work. Activities such as inviting guests and sending gifts, traveling for fun, keeping fit or exercising, eating, drinking, pulling, and peeing do not belong to the scope of work. Stealing and robbing, cheating and blackmailing, dividing the plunder and reaping the profits do not belong to the working category. In a society, only when the whole social society respects working, involves in working, it can be regarded as an ideal society full of human nature. Life is not classified as high or low, neither does labor. A society has no respect to working will inevitably become society of not knowing right or wrong, good or evil, with distorted human nature, and reverse society, a society of unfair, unreasonable, injustice, unhappiness. The society will be incentive to corruption, encourage laziness, creating evil, advocating buckish, will be a vicious cycle and bound to be ruined. Love work is love life. Despise work is to destroy life. Everything can be labeled with a price except life. Everything should be centered on life, from career, freedom, prosperity, glory, peace to ideal. What is the purpose of all these without life? Although life is tenacious, it is very frail and delicate. We have to take care of it all the time and everywhere. We are not expecting life to bloom gorgeous flowers and bear bumper fruit. We only hope that our life is like stream, joyfully singing, running through the creeks, ravines, fields, and valleys from the fountain of life, smoothly flow into the sea, the arms of life, without being dry up in the midway. Let's love life, eulogize life, and praise life. Let the tree of life be green forever. Let's hope every life can safely reach the ideal land. Summary of Reincarnation. Dayform Buddha. September 1st, 2006. Without external forces, a moving object would continue in a straight line at a constant speed along its initial direction forever. However, this is merely theoretical. In reality, no object is free from external forces. All objects are subjected to varying degrees of external forces that influence and constrain their movement. Once the magnitude and direction of these external forces are determined, the object's motion forms a fixed trajectory, which represents its destiny. Before one's spiritual perception is awakened, one's destiny follows a fixed trajectory, similar to how an astronomer can accurately predict a planet's orbit. A wise fortune teller can predict a person's future life path with high accuracy. Once spiritual perception is awakened, destiny is entirely in one's own hands. Even the greatest fortune teller cannot predict the course of a person's life, as those with awakened spiritual perception can change at any moment and transform in myriad ways. Our practice and cultivation are about awakening this spiritual perception. Enlightenment is essentially the activation of one's own spiritual perception. How will life reincarnate? Here is a summary standard and guidance for practitioners to refer to. People with the greatest love will become super celestial beings. People with the utmost benevolence will become Buddhas. People with the greatest happiness will become deity celestial beings. People with the greatest health will become land celestial beings. People with the greatest kindness will become human celestial beings. People with the greatest loyalty will ascend to nobility. People who are filial to their parents will return with great blessings. People with impartial minds will return to the human world. People who have built up their virtues will be wealthy. People with muddle-headed, confused minds will fall to the animal world. People with indifference will be reincarnated to the plant world. People with wicked intentions will sink into the ghost world. People who have lorded over and bullied others will degrade to the frozen layer. People who were intentionally evil will fall into the named layer. Please verify these standards with those who have awakened spiritual perception. Testing whether you live in the spiritual world. Xiefeng. April 12, 2024. First and foremost, it's essential to determine that living in the material world, described in one word, is tiresome, both physically and mentally. If one lives in the spiritual world, described in two words, it's effortless. Living in the world of the soul means living lightly. If a person spends their days, months, and years worrying and fretting about life's necessities, such as food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, aging, illness, and death, and focuses on how to accumulate material wealth and make more money, then that person is living in the material world. How can one know if they are living in the spiritual world? Use the following 6 indicators to assess. In your inner world, there is someone or a group of people, whether near or far, whom you firmly believe will always lend a helping hand to get you through difficult times. They will fulfill all your reasonable needs, even satisfying your sexual desires anytime and anywhere, so you always maintain vigor and vitality. You no longer worry or fear encountering difficulties or setbacks in life's journey. You joyfully engage in labor and creation every day, willingly sharing the fruits of your labor with those you hold dear in your heart. You deeply believe in certain truths: as you sow, so shall you reap. The cause and effect are perfectly matching. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes yet letting nothing slip through. What you receive and what you give are always equal. The divine law exists forever, and Tao is just. Everything in the universe operates within Tao. Therefore, you remain calm, facing difficulties and disasters with composure, neither startled nor frightened. You remain serene amidst everything that happens around you, neither rejoicing nor grieving. You understand that everything is impermanent and cannot be held on to, so you live each day contentedly, without haste, worry, or fear, treating everything with a balanced and equitable mindset and accepting all things with an ordinary mind and the mind of Tao, whether it be gains or losses, fortune or misfortune, life or death. You finally understand that life is a journey of life in the human world, akin to a dream. Eventually, the dream will end, and upon awakening, you realize that everything in the dream was illusory. Therefore, you are no longer bound by anything in the present or reality. You are no longer burdened or troubled by houses, cars, money, parents, children, wives, husbands, and so forth, because everything you possess on life's journey is merely a fantasy of the dream, and you are always prepared to awaken from the dream to the celestial world. Having seen through the mysteries of life, you realize that whether in ancient times or the present, whether among great figures, wealthy individuals, leaders, or the vicissitudes of human history and the changes of dynasties, it's all just a farce. Even if a person lives to be 150 years old, it's just a fleeting illusion in the vastness of the cosmos. Therefore, life is but a play, and coming to the human world is merely for observation and amusement. Nothing and no one, whether family, friends, ethnic groups, nations, political parties, religions, etc., is worth sacrificing one's life for or racking one's brain and exhausting oneself with worry and distress over this. Consequently, you live freely, calmly, carefreely, and joyfully. Understanding the mysteries of life, space and time, you discover and become aware of the existence of several celestial worlds and heavens after death, such as the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Islands continents. Thus, you set your sights on the journey to the celestial world, heaven, as the ultimate goal of your entire life's endeavor. You no longer overly concern yourself with earthly affairs, nor do you worry about or miss anything, or anyone related to you in the human world. As for material enjoyments, such as houses, cars, money, status, glory, and fame, none of these exist in your Dharma eyes. People's opinions, comments, and discussions, etc., about you are merely fleeting winds passing through the bamboo grove or geese crossing the cold pond. Your sole focus is on preparing your body, mind, spirit, and laboring creation for the journey to the celestial world, which is meant by devotion to the celestial islands. You have steadfast faith in the greatest Creator. The connotation of this faith is very rich and would require writing a book to fully explain. Those who understand its principles and truths will possess a bit of holographic thinking. With a bit of holographic thinking, one can not only travel freely in the spiritual world but also roam boundlessly in the infinite and endless world of the soul. If you feel or already possess any of the above 6 items, without a doubt, you have freed yourself from the shackles of the material world and are living in the spiritual world. The distinction between the domain of emotion and the domain of love. Xiefeng. October 30th, 2023. The domain of emotion refers to the scope of feelings and emotions involved, while the domain of love pertains to the scope of love cognition. To grasp the contrast between the two domains, we need to differentiate between emotion and love. Emotion is an expression of a person's psychological state. There are 8 emotions: joy, anger, sorrow, happiness, sadness, worry, fear, and surprise. The emotions we commonly refer to mainly include family affection, friendship, romantic love, and gratitude. Love is an expression of a person's consciousness state, with only one form of expression: joy. Psychological and consciousness states are entirely distinct. Psychological states change with external circumstances, while consciousness states are inherent expressions of life that do not change with external factors. Emotion changes with external factors. For example, kind treatment may evoke affection, while provocation may lead to resentment. Love, on the other hand, does not change with external factors. For example, parental love remains constant regardless of changes in the child's behavior. It is innate and difficult to change. The domain of emotion pertains to feelings. For example, if one has few objects of affection, their emotional domain is narrow. If one has many objects of affection, their emotional domain is broad. The domain of love pertains to love. For example, in the animal kingdom, female animals exhibit extraordinary care and love towards their offspring, whether they are bears, tigers, leopards, pigs, dogs, or birds. However, this love is solely directed towards their own offspring and does not extend to the offspring of other species. Similarly, humans tend to feel affection towards those with whom they share blood relations, emotional connections, and mutual interests, rather than extending their affection to other individuals or entities. Celestial beings, for instance, predominantly express love for all of nature and its creatures, showing fondness for the qualities, environments, and realm of celestials. Buddhas and bodhisattvas express love towards all life forms, including humans, reflecting their broad perspective and elevated consciousness at this level of existence. Thus, the breadth of the love domain varies according to the difference of life's scope and realm. Upon examining the emotions and love of different levels of life, we find that broader domains indicate higher life levels. Conversely, narrower domains suggest lower life levels. This is a topic that practitioners and cultivators need to pay close attention to. The birth of self. Every person's birth is inevitable, beyond individual control or choice. It is purposeful, meaningful, and beyond personal power. In the kingdoms of bees and ants, when each batch of bees or ants is born, only a few become queens, while the rest, whether they are worker bees, soldier bees, or drones, have their roles predetermined from birth. Similarly, in human society, only a few great figures emerge over a century. Whether one is born a leader, a scientist, an ordinary citizen, or even a thief or fraudster, is already predetermined. Life will gradually lead you down the path you are meant to follow. While it may seem like you have choices, in reality, they are beyond one's control. Date and time of birth, family and social environment at birth. Every person's time of birth is inevitable, beyond individual control or choice. Not only can the era and date not be changed, but even the minute and second cannot be altered. Every person cannot choose their parents and siblings, nor can they choose their family's economic status and surrounding environment. Those who belong to the city will inevitably be born in the city, those who belong to the countryside will inevitably be born in the countryside. Those who should be born in a royal family cannot be born in a commoner's family, and those who should be born in an illiterate family cannot be born in an intellectual family. Gender, height, appearance, innate abilities, and ethnicity. Whether one is male or female, tall or short, attractive or unattractive, gentle or strong in character, or belongs to a certain ethnic group such as black, Asian, or white, all these characteristics are predetermined by our genetics. They are inevitable and each individual must accept them without blaming fate or their parents. Congenital diseases. Some individuals are born as prodigies, while others may naturally have less intellectual capacity. Some are born with physical abnormalities, while others carry latent risks of disorders related to organs, blood composition, or the nervous system from the fetal stage. Although they may appear perfectly healthy at birth, these underlying conditions will emerge naturally over time with physiological changes, such as smallpox. These are beyond an individual's control and cannot be predicted or delayed. Spouse, colleagues, friends. A fate match across 1,000 miles is drawn by a thread. The kind of spouse each person will have is already predetermined and beyond one's control. He or she will undoubtedly come into your life, and you cannot avoid or push them away. In today's era of free love, people believe they choose their own partners. However, choice is merely a surface phenomenon, the ultimate deciding factor is still fate. Don't believe it? You can try this: stand on a bustling street, choose a person you like, then walk up to them and say, "I've chosen you, you must be my husband, or wife," see how they react, and what the outcome will be. Can friends be chosen by oneself? The answer is, no. Birds of a feather flock together. People group by kind. The kind of people you will meet and who will become your friends are determined by factors such as time, character, aspirations, identity, and fate. Don't believe it? You can try this. Write a letter to President Bush saying, "President Bush, I want to be friends with you," or write to any Nobel Prize winner, billionaire, movie star, or singer, saying, "I want to be friends with you," and see what the reaction and result will be. Can colleagues be chosen? Can the people one interacts with in life be chosen? No. What kind of person you will become is predetermined, and colleagues and people you interact with are those you must deal with. They are the factors that drive you towards your predetermined goal, a goal that you may not be clear about. Don't believe it? You can try this. Go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, walk into any office, and tell them, "I want to be your colleague," or go to the largest trading company in Sicily, Italy, and tell them, "I want to interact and deal with you," see what the result will be. Aging, lifespan, date and method of death. Aging and death are inevitable. There is no precedent in human history for self-control to prevent aging or death. A person's lifespan is determined by a combination of various factors, and no one knows how old they can live. The date and method of death may vary, but individuals cannot determine them. Regarding the date of death, someone might say, "My death date is a certain year, month, and time. If I don't die then, I will commit suicide." It sounds logical and reasonable, but I want to tell you, if your destined method of death is not suicide, you won't be able to commit suicide. Perhaps before your planned suicide time, you have already died. If you are destined to die by suicide, you cannot escape it. The methods of death are myriad, estimated to be 1,000,000 kinds. No one is clear about how they will die, nor can they choose the method of death. Perhaps a person sentenced to death will say, "My chosen method is execution by shooting." As a result, they are shot. Does this mean you can choose? I want to tell you, at this time, your method of death is to be shot, which is inevitable and beyond your control. If, a moment before being shot, You say, my chosen method of death is to be choked by a strand of hair. As a result, you are not shot, but you pull out a strand of hair, assuming you are not bound, stuff it into your throat and choke to death. That would be called a choice. But would that work? Dreaming. Dreaming is inevitable and beyond individual control. The timing, content, and scenarios of dreams are beyond one's influence. Who can say, tonight I must have a beautiful dream, and ensure its occurrence? The gender and number of one's children. Some people dream of having a son, while others long for a daughter. Some pray for many children and grandchildren, but these hopes and dreams cannot be self-determined. Whether one has a son, a daughter, or how many, is predestined. Some may say that having a boy or a girl is a matter of chance, but then I ask you, why do some couples have 6 sons and no daughters, while others have 6 daughters and no sons? Why do some have no children at all? The factors involved in having a boy or a girl are numerous, and this is a subject beyond science and beyond the scope of this discussion. All I want you to know is that there is a great deal of knowledge involved here, and without reaching a certain level of spiritual cultivation, one can never gain control over it. Occupation. Human society is like a flowing river, and each person is a droplet in that river. Whether the droplet flows in the middle or along the edge of the river is not up to it. Similarly, a raindrop falling from the sky has no control over whether it will land on grass, a rooftop, sand, or a mountain. So, does everyone choose their own occupation? How many people can freely choose their profession? Is your current job something you chose, or were you forced into it by the waves of life? The occupation each person currently engages in is the result of many factors: your temperament, knowledge, upbringing, appearance, speech, experiences, family background, lifestyle habits, and even the length of your legs and the size of your eyes, etc. Even if you have a choice, the range is pitifully small. It's not just that a farmer can't become a governor, a worker can't engage in scientific work, a prime minister can't become a musician, but even a farmer can't become a herdsman, a mechanic can't become an electrician, a real estate businessman can't run a supermarket, and a sports worker can't perform acrobatics. A peach will always be a peach, a sour plum will always be a sour plum, a cherry can't become a watermelon, and a blade of grass can't become a towering tree. If you don't have a good voice, don't expect to become a singer. If you lack musical talent, don't bother with the piano. Those who rob houses are certainly not kind-hearted, and a great monk must be free of desires. The conclusion is, your current occupation is what you are destined to engage in, and whether you can change it does not entirely depend on your own will. Murder and imprisonment. No one can guarantee that they will not kill or be imprisoned. When war breaks out and bullets have fallen in your yard, not only soldiers will charge into battle, but ordinary people will also rise in self-defense. When you know someone wants to kill you, you have no choice but to resist instinctively. An honest and kind-hearted person who has worked hard to earn a little money for survival, if robbed, deceived, or extorted, will certainly seek revenge when the opportunity arises. Except for a few who are naturally inclined to kill, no one likes to kill. But if forced into a corner, one will certainly kill. No one likes to be imprisoned, but prisons are often filled with people. It's not a matter of willingness, but of inevitability. Wealth, fame, and status. There is nobody in the world who doesn't like wealth, except for fools and immortals, and religious leaders are no exception. Even those who often preach that wealth is an external possession, which we cannot bring with us at birth or take away at death, secretly desire more wealth. The question is, while you may like wealth, does wealth like you? Many people rack their brains, strategize tirelessly, even take risks, and travel far and wide, only to end up penniless. Conversely, how many others go about life leisurely, without much effort, yet wealth seems to flow effortlessly towards them? Some people toil their entire lives but can't even earn $10,000, while others, with a mere word, earn tens of thousands of dollars. Some may receive just 2 eggs on their birthday, while others might be gifted a luxury car or a lavish villa. Watching others making money hand over fist, all you can do is stare. Wealth is everywhere, but you just can't pick it up. It's not about lacking intelligence, education, or physical strength, it's about having a weak wealth destiny. Having a weak wealth destiny or poor financial luck isn't necessarily a bad thing. Jesus once said, "It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. If it's meant for you, there's a reason for it." Don't blame yourself. The same principles apply to fame and status. Turning points and encounters in life. People who have played mahjong know that what hand you will have is completely out of your control. The cards that should come will come, and the cards that shouldn't come absolutely won't. The cards you reveal are the turning points and encounters that constitute your wins and losses. Some people may say that winning or losing is a matter of probability or technique. Saying this proves that you haven't played seriously. If you were to stake your entire fortune on the game, you would find that the role of probability theory and technique is minimal. Sometimes, you win continuously, and sometimes, you can't win a few hands all night. In fact, your wins and losses are already determined by the field, position, time, and your own mental, physical, and psychological state at the time you play with others, you just don't know it. Everyone has a few turning points in their life, such as going to school, starting work, getting married, being transferred, moving, being promoted, becoming unemployed, being laid off, going abroad, changing careers, etc. There are also some special turning points, such as when war suddenly breaks out, the life of a person with military talent takes a turn, someone with a natural singing voice is discovered by a talent scout and embarks on a singing career, their life takes a turn. An ambitious, energetic person encounters a car accident or a disease, their life path also takes a turn. Those with ambitions for officialdom understand that every new sovereign brings his own courtiers, the joys and sorrows, ups and downs of superiors can cause a turning point in their lives. China's Cultural Revolution caused a turning point in many people's lives, and the reform and opening up, revitalizing the economy also caused a turning point in many people's life paths. Turning points are inevitable and occur regardless of any individual's will and cannot be controlled by oneself. Next, let us look at encounters. Transcription. In March 1978, a 37-year-old female crane operator at a mine near Donetsk, Ukraine, unfortunately came into contact with 380 volts of high voltage and died. After being kept in the morgue for 2 days, she miraculously regained consciousness. After 6 months of convalescence, one day she walked to the bus station and suddenly found that she could see inside a woman's body just like an image on a TV screen. She could see the ultraviolet light coming from the sun and the holes under the asphalt road. Doctors admit that she is an unparalleled diagnostic expert, able to diagnose diseases that people easily overlook, and has never misdiagnosed. Li Tsuantian, a boy from Li Bing's family in Taiping Village, Taipingjiu Township, Chang'an County, Shaanxi Province, couldn't speak since he was a child. Despite seeking medical treatment everywhere, he still didn't see any improvement. In 1986, when he was 15 years old, the mute boy went to his uncle's house with his mother. While playing by the well, he accidentally fell into the well. The child suddenly cried out for his parents and shouted for help. After people rescued him, he started to speak. Charlie Philibus, a billionaire from the UK, was born on March 1, 1917, in a farmer's family in St. Lia Castle, UK. Due to financial difficulties and other reasons, he was abandoned by his parents on the side of a big road near a farm a few days after he was born. Just when he was dying, a group of white pigeons led by 2 green pigeons descended from the sky and circled around him, cooing non-stop. Then, the owner of the green pigeons, a farmer named Franz Joseph, came to the sound and took him in. Later, when his business encountered difficulties, it was the pigeons that helped him a lot. To repay the pigeons for their gratitude, he not only established a pigeon association, used the green pigeon as the logo of his company, but also suggested that the United Nations use the pigeon as a symbol of happiness and peace for all mankind. He himself was known as the father of world pigeons. Romulus, who founded the city of Rome, was persecuted by his usurping great-uncle from the moment he was born and was thrown into the Tiber River. But he survived against all odds, was washed ashore by the water, and a she-wolf heard the child's cry and came to the river, feeding him with wolf milk. Later, a shepherd found him and took him home to raise him. On the morning of February 12, 1971, Eddie Robinson, who was 53 years old at the time, had a car accident while driving across a bridge. His head was injured, and subsequently, he gradually lost his vision and hearing, living in a world of darkness and silence. However, on the afternoon of June 4, 1980, a poplar tree in his backyard was struck by lightning. The electricity dispersed to him as he was searching for chickens near the tree, knocking him to the ground. 20 minutes after regaining consciousness, his vision and hearing miraculously returned. It was as if a bolt from the blue had restored him to his original state. Turning points and extraordinary encounters may seem purely coincidental on the surface, but they often have underlying signs. Those proficient in the art of physiognomy know that a person's fortune, nobility, longevity, and even the likelihood of premature death can all be discerned from their facial features. Teachers who have served as class advisors for more than 2 years can often predict among their 40 or so students, who will be able to attend university in the future, who will go to vocational school, who will end up unemployed, and who will experience a life full of twists and turns. They can generally draw such conclusions. As the saying goes, one's destiny can be foreseen at the age of 3. This means that turning points and extraordinary encounters can only happen to those who are destined for them. A person without a good voice will never have the turning point of becoming a singer, no matter how much power and control presidents have. They will not have the turning point of becoming a great scientist. A 50-year-old shepherd will never have the turning point of becoming an astronaut. 13. Peach Blossom Luck. This refers to a pure love affair outside of marriage that leaves both parties longing for each other for a lifetime. Everyone is a unique lock and at the same time, a unique key. Each person's world of love is a locked treasure chest that can only be opened by a matching key. Peach blossom luck occurs when this special key and lock meet, unlocking the frozen world of love between two people. Peach blossom luck arrives unexpectedly, and hope and pursuit are futile. When it arrives, emotions are hard to suppress, the heart beats faster, and one is involuntarily drawn in. The whole world and life suddenly become extraordinarily beautiful. Without knowing the other person's history, character, marital status, social status, or economic condition, you are willing to depend on each other for life, to become one. Marital affection, unrequited love, visiting brothels, etc., are not peach blossom luck. Peach blossom luck is like the thunder and lightning produced by the collision of two clouds, a thunderbolt. It's not 1 + 1 is equal to 2, but 1 + 1 is equal to 1, like a volcanic eruption, a nuclear fission. This upheaval in the world of love is beyond one's control. It's not a chance encounter, but a necessity that comes after reaching a certain age and experience, attracted by a wave of information emitted by the physiological field that one cannot feel oneself. 14. Eating, drinking, excreting, sleeping. When you're hungry, you must eat. After eating, you must defecate. When you're thirsty, you must drink. After drinking, you must urinate. When you're tired, you must sleep. This is the inevitable law of physiology. If you violate this inevitable law, the result is certain death. In the face of this law, people are powerless and can only go with the flow, following the inevitable. 15. Enjoying blessings, suffering hardships, enduring suffering. What kind of blessings you enjoy, what kind of hardships you suffer, what kind of suffering you endure, are predestined, are inevitable. To explain this issue thoroughly requires a lot of space. I only provide the following information. Please think, comprehend, analyze. Having the same parents, growing up in the same family, living in the same social environment, decades later, the life paths of brothers and sisters vary greatly. Some have a lifetime of happy families, economic prosperity, and a happy and satisfying life, while others have a bumpy and unsuccessful life, unhappy families, and numerous difficulties. What causes this? Why? Where is the root? Some people are born in poverty, born in remote mountainous areas, can't even wear a decent piece of clothing, can't afford to go to school, while some people are born in abundance, carefully cared for by servants, attending aristocratic schools. Why? Where is the root? People who have read the novel Water Margin think about it. Why did Gao Qiu make a fortune? Why did Lin Chong go to Yangshan? Where is the root? Some people, a day's income can exceed the total of dozens of farmers' hard work for 365 days. Some people at a young age are working in the key departments of the country. Some people struggle for a lifetime and can't even become a section chief. Why? Where is the root? Visit a few prisoners in prison, ask them why they committed crimes, why they went to jail, and then summarize, see where the reason is. If you are a boss, ask your employees, my daily income is dozens of times yours, why don't you learn from me, and still work for me stupidly? If you are a worker, ask your boss, he sweat blood all day, but you come and go in high-end hotels, why can't we change our identities? Ask yourself again, why am I like this? Why is he like that? I graduated from university, and my wife is still dissatisfied with me. He is just an ordinary person who graduated from elementary school, but his wife is obedient to him. My cultural level is the same as his, the starting point is the same, and I have been working in the same unit for many years. Why can his children go to famous universities abroad, but my children can't? There are thousands of such questions. As long as you can explain the above 7, you will know that the blessings, hardships, and sufferings in a person's life are beyond human power and are inevitable. 16. What path to take, what kind of person to become. I remember in 1972 when I was in junior high school, our Chinese teacher gave us a composition topic, my ideal. The ideals of our 48 classmates were varied, mainly including the following. I want to firmly grasp a steel gun and guard the frontier of the motherland. I want to be a sailor, steering a warship, defending the maritime defense of the motherland. I want to be a pilot, flying an eagle in the vast blue sky of the motherland. I want to be a driver, driving a truck, running on the Socialist Avenue. I want to be an angel in white, warming the hearts of patients. I want to be a teacher, using my hard sweat to irrigate the flowers of the socialist motherland. I want to be a coal miner, digging out more and better coal, so that the socialist blast furnace can operate 24 hours a day. I want to be a construction worker, building more high-rise buildings for the socialist motherland. I want to be a doctor, using my medical skills to relieve the suffering of the poor peasants. I want to be a new type of farmer, driving an iron bull, galloping in the fields of the motherland. 30 years later, except for one who realized his dream and became a teacher, the ideals of the other classmates were not realized. This fact shows that what kind of path a person takes and what kind of person they become is not up to them. Everyone is like a piece of iron, what kind of utensil it will become, is not up to the iron itself, but is forged into shape according to the needs of the blacksmith. Perhaps some people will object, junior high school students do not understand society, do not understand the trend of social development, their ideals are too simple, and cannot be used to prove that what kind of road to take, what kind of person to become is not up to oneself. Well, then you choose 50 people of different age stages and different cultural levels, let them talk about what kind of path they will take in the next 10 years, what kind of person they will become, and verify it again in 10 years, see what the result is. 17. Prosperity and adversity. Few people wish for a life full of hardships, obstacles, debts, and turmoil. Everyone strives for peace, smooth sailing, success, and turning misfortune into fortune. Yet, why do tragedies like emperors committing suicide, presidents going to jail, wealthy people committing suicide, and scholars begging happen? In Chinese history, there were cases where one person's crime led to the punishment of 9 generations, and the extermination of an entire family. During World War II, millions of Jews were displaced and faced sudden calamities. How were these adversities created? Reflecting on the situations of our parents, peers, friends, and colleagues, some are in prosperity while others face adversity. What causes some to prosper while others suffer? Is it appearance? Age? Knowledge? Beliefs? Gender? Race? Family environment? Social environment? Intelligence? Foolishness or evilness? Lack of effort? Or some other reason? My answer is, it's inevitable and beyond individual control. Prosperity and adversity are like the changing seasons, fluctuating with the changes in time and space, beyond human control, unless one has grasped the mysteries, like migratory birds changing their activity spaces with the seasons, or like Buddhist monks and Taoist masters who have transcended worldly desires and physiological urges, able to control a part of it. 18. Destination after death. First, let's excerpt a passage from the 1990 issue of Reader magazine, page 42, titled New Discussion on the Mystery of Death. A multinational company in Japan wanted to confirm whether brain waves still exist after death. Scientists implanted electrodes into the skulls of subjects, connected to a computer that could receive brain waves within an 80-kilometer range. Among the 10 deceased subjects, they found brain waves in 2. One named Freddie. 3 days after death, the computer screen displayed, "I am Freddie, I am happy, there is no pain." The phrase, "there is no pain," appeared over 20 times before the brain waves disappeared. Another leukemia patient, on the 3rd day after death, the computer screen displayed, "This is a beautiful place, I am happy to be here, I feel joy." This experiment illustrates that brain waves exist after death. Whether this report is true, everyone should verify for themselves. I'm just telling you, there is life after death. Many people don't believe in an afterlife, they are deceived by the surface phenomena of the material world, bound by their conventional thinking, limited by their eyes, ears, and bodies, and restricted by limited scientific knowledge. They dismiss everything they cannot understand as superstition, witchcraft, and deny the negative universe, the 36-dimensional spaces, regarding everything unseen, unheard, unfelt, scientifically unproven, and unacknowledged by experts as illusory and non-existent. This can't be blamed on them, it's normal because until now, amidst the vast ocean of human wisdom, no book, philosophy, or ideology has fully elucidated the mysteries of the universe. Although the classics of major religions mention the afterlife, they fail to convince, leaving one only half believing, while modern science and technology have not fully confirmed life after death. Some people with extraordinary abilities, although capable of supernatural powers, either do not understand the mysteries or lack the ability to describe them, giving a sense of ambiguity and difficulty in distinguishing truth from falsehood. So, can life genuine explain clearly and convincingly? It's also very difficult, not because it can't be explained clearly, but because of our level of cultivation. For example, when I say sunlight is colorful, with various colors depending on what's in nature, you may find it unbelievable. When we talk about complex planes and imaginary functions, it's hard for elementary and middle school students to understand because they cannot be explained with examples from daily life. You can easily understand that 1 apple plus 1 apple equals 2 apples, but if I tell you 1 plus, minus 1, equals the universe, it becomes inexplicable and incomprehensible. All middle school students know the periodic table of chemical elements, but when Mendeleev first arranged the elements, not even chemists believed it because many elements had not been discovered or confirmed. How did Mendeleev know about their existence? How do you know there are only these elements on Earth? Is it because humanity hasn't discovered them yet that you think Mendeleev is just fantasizing and piecing things together randomly? No, regardless of whether you believe it or not, the periodic table of chemical elements is an order, a necessity, just like every cell in a person has 23 pairs of chromosomes. If there are more or less, it's no longer a human. Everything in the universe follows a fixed procedure and order. So why was it Mendeleev who arranged the periodic table of chemical elements, and not someone else? Buddhism teaches that humans have human eyes, Deva eyes, wisdom eyes, Dharma eyes, and Buddha eyes. Human eyes are understandable because we all have them. So, what are wisdom eyes? We can understand that too. For example, Bull identifies horses. Bull had wisdom in recognizing horses. He knew what kind of horse a fast horse was, what kind was a medium horse, and what kind was a poor horse. Some political leaders have the wisdom to recognize talents, like Li Shimin recognizing Wei Zheng. What about Deva eyes? We can also understand that, for example, the Hubble Space Telescope, electron microscopes, laser mirrors, etc., are heavenly eyes that can see distant worlds and the microscopic world invisible to the naked eye, see beyond walls and skin. Such eyes are Deva eyes. What about the Dharma eye? It's relatively difficult to understand, because only those who know the order of the universe, the structure of matter, and the past and future of any object or person possess the Dharma eye. As we mentioned above, Mendeleev, in the field of chemical elements, already possessed the Dharma eye. Newton had a certain Dharma eye in the field of mechanics. Sakyamuni had the Dharma eye in the field of material structure. Thousands of years ago, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, it was said, in each speck of dust, there are boundless worlds. In these worlds, there are again specks of dust. Within these specks of dust, there are again worlds, such as the endless cycle, which cannot be exhausted. For example, the Earth universe is a speck of dust in the macrocosm, the Milky Way is a speck of dust in the spiral galaxy, the solar system is a speck of dust in the Milky Way, the Earth is a speck of dust in the solar system, any single object is a speck of dust on Earth, a molecule is a speck of dust in an object, an atom is a speck of dust in a molecule, an electron is a speck of dust that constitutes an atom, and so on to protons, neutrons, photons, mesons, hyperons, baryons, antiparticles, etc. Such is the endless cycle, which cannot be exhausted. How could Sakyamuni see so finely thousands of years ago? Because he had the Dharma eye. What about the Buddha eye? This is the most difficult level to understand, as it involves non-material, negative universe, 36-dimensional spaces, space-time view, existence and non-existence view, reality and illusion view, etc. Einstein once said, for us believing physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. This shows that Einstein has bypassed the boundary of the Buddha eye. The reason why Einstein is great lies here. For those who have the Buddha eye, time does not exist. The so-called seeing through the world is only for those who have the Buddha eye. Ordinary people can't see through it, and they have no way to see through it. Sakyamuni suddenly enlightened under the Bodhi tree and became a Buddha. So what is sudden enlightenment, and what is a Buddha? The Southern Buddhism in China talks about sudden enlightenment, which is actually a misunderstanding of sudden enlightenment, leading people astray. The real sudden enlightenment refers to the critical transformation point where a qualitative change suddenly occurs when the quantitative change reaches the limit. For example, a pot of cold water, heated on the fire, gradually changes from cold to warm. When its temperature reaches 100 degrees, we ignore the altitude for now, it becomes boiling water. Without the previous heating process, cold water can never suddenly enlighten into boiling water. Anyone who does not practice cultivation, don't dream of sudden enlightenment, become a Buddha. The natural law will not shift with human will. Sakyamuni suddenly enlightened. To become a Buddha because he had been practicing cultivation for a long time, and the quantitative change had reached the extreme, and he was bound to become a Buddha. There is a joke about a person who only feels full after eating 9 buns. When he feels full after eating the 9th bun, he regrets it. If I had known that this 9th bun could fill me up, I wouldn't have eaten the previous 8 buns, wasting 8 buns. I'm really stupid. Indeed stupid, not just ordinary stupid, it's out the square of stupid. What is a Buddha? Simply put, it is a person who already has the Buddha eye, a person who is in tune with the thinking of the universe, a person who is one with the Tao, a person who understands the intention of the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator, a person who has transcended time and space, embraced eternity. I've said a lot above, and the purpose is only one. That is to tell everyone that people have past lives and future lives, and life is constantly evolving and transforming. For example, the Sokaladethan people only refers to the death of the body. This ends the mission of carrying the spiritual body of life, returning to dust. The spiritual body of life will then go to another space. This is just like people taking a boat from this shore to the other shore. After reaching the other shore, they abandon the boat and go ashore, thus completing the mission of the boat. In this analogy, the body is Theboath, it carries the spiritual body of life from one shore to the other shore. Back to the main point, the destination after death is unknown to everyone, it's inevitable. So where exactly do people go after death? Based on the quality of each person's spiritual body, after death, they will go to one of the following 10 worlds: the 1,000-year world, described in the Bible as the resurrected world and the heaven hoped for by Islam, the 10,000-year world, the Elysium world, the anode black hole body, the womb of the mother body that nurtures animals and plants, serving as a means for them to return to the human world, the animal world, livestock world, animal world, plant world, nether world, frozen layer and inflamed layer. There are no other destinations. The ancestor of Buddha's revelation. Xiefeng. November 10, 2018. Supreme Ancestor of Buddha, I have been self-improving and self-refining for more than 20 years, but I have not obtained anything. Where is the fairness of Tao? How do you self-refine and how do you self-improve? My self-refinement is mainly to enlighten my mind and transform my consciousness, to calm my mind, stop my desire, manage my mind, have a mind of integrity, keep an open mind, have a sedated mind, maintain a pure mind, and to do what I want to do to have a peaceful mind. At the same time, I apply unconventional thinking, gradually separate from the consciousness of animals and humans, and establish the consciousness of a celestial being in Buddha. My self-improvement is mainly selfless dedication and unconditional giving. Meanwhile, I try my best to pay off my debts and finish all my secular ties. What do you want? Why are you questioning the justice of Tao? As a person, I need a gracious life. As an enlightened one, I need to have supernatural powers. However, after improving myself for more than 20 years, I have lost my house, car, money, and haven't got any power, status, fame or fortune, and I have no magic power at all. People around me live better than me. They are all laughing at me. So, I am more and more confused. If the result of selfless dedication and unconditional giving is that I do not live as well as others, ancestor of Buddha, could you tell me if I have taken the wrong path? You didn't go wrong on the path of self-improvement and self-refinement, but there is something wrong with the direction and goal of your enlightenment, and your understanding is not thorough. Ancestor of Buddha, please give me some guidance. For more than 20 years, you have been almost free from illness and have not encountered any disasters. Do you know how many people have been struggling with illness and have died in disasters in the past 20 years? About 800 million people are suffering from illness, and about 600 million people die abnormally. Don't you think that your safety for more than 20 years is the result of self-improvement and self-refinement? For more than 20 years, you have hardly suffered from insomnia, and you have slept soundly. There are not many annoying things that disturb your mind, and you are not worried about thieves and robbers stealing from you and robbing you. What a blessing! Don't you think it is the result of self-improvement and self-refinement? For more than 20 years, you have known and made many pure confidants. Not only do they cause no troubles and pains to you, but happily accompany you on your life journey. You realize that they will provide you with useful help unconditionally whenever you need them. Isn't this the result of your self-improvement and self-refinement? For more than 20 years, through continuous selfless dedication, you have gradually repaid the debts you owed for many generations. You have gradually finished your secular ties and have been close to heaven. Your future is becoming gradually clear and bright, away from hell, and you are gradually getting rid of the program of reincarnation. Isn't this the fruitful result of your persistent self-improvement and self-refinement? What you get is not only the above, but there are also many more things that I do not need to describe in detail here. When you open your Buddha's eye, you will know everything. You must know that avoiding illness and disaster is equal to gaining, achieving a balanced life and happiness is equal to gaining, paying off your debts and ending secular ties is even more gaining, and being close to heaven is a blessing over a blessing. Do you still doubt the justice of Tao? Are you still confused? I am grateful for your teaching. I still feel that the result of more than 20 years of self-improvement and self-refinement is emptiness. Compared with the wealthy people around me, I still feel that I have made no practical achievements and I am not confident enough to continue on this road in the future. I understand your feelings. There are countless temptations in life in this world and you have not yet stepped out of the temptation maze. Go and learn from nature. I hide all secrets and mysteries in the principles and laws of all things and phenomena. If you observe and think carefully, it is not difficult to gain true knowledge. For example, observing a fruit tree, from the spring budding and growth to the flowering and fruiting to the final maturity, it needs a process. The time for real maturity is very short, and the time for gestation is very long. Your 2 decades of self-improvement and self-refinement belongs to the gestation period, do you understand? Observe how the ewe gives birth to a lamb. The lamb stays in the womb of the ewe before it is born, growing and developing. As long as it has not yet been born, it will always be in the same environment, without seeing the future, without seeing the world outside the womb. Once it is born, it is equivalent to being reborn and fulfilled. The period of fulfillment is very short, but the gestation period is very long. Your 20 years of self-improvement and self-refinement is equivalent to the developing and growing of a lamb in the womb of the ewe. As long as you do not get out of the womb, it is natural and understandable to be confused, but irritability is not necessary. You must be convinced that one day you will get out of the womb and enter the world of nature, and you must believe in the power and rules of these procedures. I am grateful for your teaching and guidance. I understand and my heart is bright now. I will continue to develop and grow in this big womb of the world and strive to be born in the heavenly world one day. The concept and connotation of Chanyuan superhumans. Xiefeng. November 20th, 2008. In human society, governance should not fall into the hands of despots or fascists, nor should it be managed by elected mediocrities. It should instead be led by individuals or groups with superhuman qualities, those who are the most civilized, outstanding, selfless, and saintly-minded, with an iron will. At present, the Chanyuan celestials of life genuine embody these qualities. Chanyuan celestials understand and uphold the 800 Chanyuan values. These values represent the essence of human wisdom and the highest moral standards. They are profound and indispensable. Therefore, human society should naturally be led by the Chanyuan celestials of life genuine. This is non-negotiable. Whether humanity agrees or understands, it must comply. Those who are willing to embrace this will enter the era of life genuine, living lives of joy, freedom, and happiness. Those who refuse are akin to viruses within human civilization and will be purified without hesitation. The goal of the Chanyuan Superman is to dissolve the structures of nations and families, retire religions and political parties from history's stage, and unify humanity. The social order will be founded on the principle that the talented will be put to good use, and the world will be one family. Harmony will reign, and everyone will live freely and happily. The Chanyuan values will become deeply rooted in human consciousness, ultimately bringing about the ideal of universal harmony. Good, hardworking, honest, and trustworthy people deserve to live joyfully, freely, and happily. If such individuals cannot, then society itself is immoral. Its system is driven by Satan. Thousands of years of human history have shown that humanity has been ruled by Satan and his agents. But now, the kingdom of the greatest creator is descending. All past views on life, the view of life, the worldview, and values must be completely abolished and replaced with the Chanyuan values. These will be implemented and managed by Chanyuan superhumans. To become a Chanyuan Superman, one must first understand the 800 Chanyuan values. These values form the foundation of superhuman qualities. Without them, one cannot be considered a superhuman, such a person would be merely a brute. Once one fully understands the Chanyuan values, one becomes a true superhuman. A Chanyuan Superman should embody the following principles. Devotion only to the greatest creator, serving only the creator's will, and following the creator's path. Reject all paths that contradict the creator, whether those of gods, demons, or humanity itself. Anything that goes against the creator's will must be overthrown and eradicated. Reject nations, religions, political parties, and families. Anything that upholds these institutions must be destroyed. Hold firm to the belief, I am right. No matter who you are, follow my lead. Every Chanyuan celestial should think this way. Either you follow me, or we part ways. I will never compromise or bend to your will. My words must be obeyed, whether understood or not. Do not expect me to submit to anyone else's wishes. Do not argue with me. As a Chanyuan celestial, I am inherently correct, and you are inherently wrong. Keep your arguments to yourself in my presence. When faced with threats or death, smile calmly and without fear. I am invulnerable, protected by divine light, the Dharma, the Creator's blessing, and my unbreakable will. Threats and death hold no power over me. Do not provoke me, for if you do, I will seek revenge tenfold, chasing you from the heavens to the underworld. I will show no mercy, for you have wronged me. Life or death? If you choose life, follow me. If you choose death, go your way. These are the essential qualities of every Chanyuan superhuman. Methods and strategies of the Chanyuan superhuman. A Chanyuan superhuman's methods are flexible and diverse, adapting as necessary. As long as I succeed and achieve my goals, ensuring the world revolves around me, I will use any means, even those traditionally deemed evil, if they serve my purpose. However, I am wise and strategic. I will always protect myself first. I will act only when my safety is assured. I avoid duels, direct confrontation, or open and covert conflicts, preferring to operate invisibly so that my opponents cannot defend themselves or predict my actions. I adhere to the principle of flexibility. I have no rigid rules, my loyalty lies only with the Creator, those stronger than me, and those who are kind, hardworking, honest, and trustworthy. I do not keep my word with mediocrity, ignorant people, worldly people, or those who are barbaric. I constantly adapt, shifting between truth and falsehood, reality and illusion. While my external methods may seem inconstant, my commitment to the Creator's path, my goal of establishing the Life-Genuine era for humanity and my faith and determination to journey toward the Celestial Islands continent will never waver. Everything else will evolve with changes in time, space, environment, and people. I will never let my mind become rigid or my actions follow a fixed, inflexible pattern, nor will I ever be stuck in one way of thinking or acting. The path to achieving the Chanyuan superhuman's purpose. Chanyuan superhumans are like lions, tigers, and leopards. They are capable of working together as a team but can also act independently, displaying strength and freedom. The relationship between superhumans is one of mutual cooperation and assistance, much like a pride of lions or a pack of tigers. However, unlike herds of sheep or zebras, which, when gathered together, may appear grand and overwhelming, capable of crushing anything, but once faced with a fierce lion, scatter like birds and beasts, only thinking of fleeing, this is not the way of Chanyuan superhumans. Chanyuan superhumans must view the Life-Genuine community as their unbreakable fortress, relying on this collective strength and using the Chanyuan values as their guide for action. Without these, even the strongest lion will be lost and overwhelmed among wolves. Nietzsche's superhuman is inevitably solitary, but the Chanyuan superhuman is never alone. We are a collective of superhumans who flirt with one another, entertain ourselves, and enjoy games together. In response to questions from Tiangong Celestial, I have written the above. I want to emphasize that viewing the Chanyuan superhuman concept from only one perspective can lead to misconceptions and may even seem contradictory to my previous teachings. As I have always said, do not rush to conclusions. Take your time to explore and observe, for this is the holographic mechanism. I firmly believe that in time, you will gain full clarity and understanding. The connotations of selflessness, unselfishness, and non-attachment. Xiefeng. June 21, 2024. Selflessness. There is inherently no self in the universe. Everything is merely a manifestation of the consciousness of the greatest creator. In a computer game, there are countless characters, and those characters believe they have a self, but in reality, they are just manifestations of the game designer's consciousness. 100 years ago, I did not exist. 100 years from now, I will not exist either. The so-called self is just an illusion and delusion of human perception. With the notion of self, one becomes deeply entangled in the roles and plots designed by the game designer. Without the notion of self, one transcends these roles and simply plays along with circumstances and destiny. Who is the self? One cannot decide one's own birth, nor can one determine one's departure. One cannot correct yesterday's mistakes or predict tomorrow's events. We can't even grow an eye on the back of our head or control our tears when cutting onions. So, where is the self? Who am I? Looking down on the world, who is troubled, suffering, anxious, or worried? Who argues, attacks, fights, or schemes against others? Who dances on waves or sobs in prison? Who shines on the red carpet or wanders in the bitter rain? It is the self. Because everyone has a self, the world is formed. Due to the absence of self, paradise appears. Unselfishness. There is inherently no selfishness in the universe. Form is emptiness, and everything we see is illusory. Under the wide heaven, all is the king's land. Within the sea boundaries of the land, all are the king's servants. This king is not a human king but the creator of all things in heaven and earth. What is mine, yours, or his? People don't even know their own life trajectories and can't control their lives, let alone grasp external things. Which emperor can hold on to his kingdom firmly? Which billionaire can take his wealth with him? Day in and day out, earning money in the wind and rain, is absurd. In the end, it's all for someone else. Looking down on the world, observe the people around you. Who lives the hardest life? Those with the heaviest selfishness live the hardest. Who is the most troublesome? Those with the heaviest selfishness are the most troublesome. Who is the most heartless? Those with the heaviest selfishness are the most heartless. Who is the most insidious and cunning? Those with the heaviest selfishness are the most insidious and cunning. Hell is overcrowded because people's selfishness is too heavy. How do you feel working and living with selfless people? Does it feel like living in heaven? Why? Because heaven is composed of selfless people. Do you still dare to be selfish? Non-attachment. The universe inherently has no words, mountains and rivers inherently have no attachment, and all things transform according to their own nature and find their own peace. Cabbages and radishes each have their own beauty, and there are no identical things in the world. Each person has their own face, each person has their own heart, each has their own path, and each has their own destination. Let those who love bread eat bread and let those who love beer drink beer. Do not interfere, do not force, see everything as pleasing, hear everything as reasonable. This is non-attachment. Who can turn a cabbage into a radish? Who can turn a cat into a dog? It is impossible. If you think you are right, that is fine, but making others pee or cook according to your idea of rightness is attachment. In a group, whoever is responsible or bears the responsibility should have the final say. If you insist on making the person in charge listen to you, that is self-attachment. Always wanting to correct others or make others act according to your intentions is self-attachment. Worldly people and mortals can never see eye to eye, mortals and virtuous people can never understand each other, virtuous people and celestial beings can never reach any agreement. There are always higher mountains and greater heavens. If you value interests, you are a worldly person. If you value feelings, you are a mortal. If you value logic, you are a virtuous person. If you value spirituality, you are a celestial being. First, clarify your own coordinate system and point, and you will get along with everyone peacefully. If a worldly person wants to correct a mortal wants to correct a virtuous person, and a virtuous person wants to correct a celestial being, it is like a hen trying to teach a phoenix how to fly, ignorant of the heights of the heavens and the depths of the earth. Without attachment, the world is peaceful, and life is satisfactory. With attachment, storms arise, and chaos ensues. The Cultivation Chapter. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. Cultivation refers to recognition, exploration, and judgment, finding the correct methods and paths. Practice refers to selection, restraint, and persistence, restraining one's emotions and desires, adhering to what is right, and giving up what is wrong. The journey of transcending time and space of life Echanuan is divided into 3 levels of self-cultivation: elementary, intermediate, and advanced. Elementary cultivation. The purpose is to cultivate cognition, by seeing through life, to discard illusions, return to simplicity and truth, develop human nature, sort out the chaos, find the way out of complexity, see the constant in the impermanent, and gradually transition from the muddled and chaotic ordinary life to the clear and distinct life of the virtuous, and thus achieve a state of individual health, wealth, and freedom. The elementary stage of cultivation also needs to do your best to complete your duty, laying the foundation for the intermediate stage of cultivation, which is to be free from cares and worries. Intermediate cultivation. The purpose is to cultivate the heart, through calming the mind, stopping the mind, governing the mind, rectifying the mind, being humble, stabilizing the mind, purifying the mind, ending the worries of the heart, dispelling the heavy fog that shrouds the mind, making the mind transparent and clean, achieving the goal of transcending the secular, leaving the world, ending the worries of the heart, and being extraordinary, and laying the foundation for the advanced stage of cultivation, which is to cultivate nature. Advanced cultivation. The purpose is to cultivate nature, through unconventional thinking, wild imagination, doing the opposite, denying life, and thus achieving the goal of walking with angels, celestials and Buddhas, and entering the celestial realm. Nature refers to the original characteristics of the gene structure of humans designed by the greatest creator, which is called the root of wisdom in Buddhism, and the spirit and spirituality in the language of celestials. This nature is absolutely pure, without impurities. If this spirituality can be maintained, people will not get sick or die, and can live forever. However, due to the imperfect technology of the angels when they created according to the greatest creator's blueprint, a part of the impurities was mixed into human nature, leading to the imperfection of human beings. The less perfect human nature is, the more it develops towards the lower life space, and the more perfect human nature is, the more it develops towards the higher life space. Cultivating nature is to gradually remove the impurities mixed in the original nature through cultivation and restore the original characteristics given by the greatest creator. Before cultivation, I have excerpted some content from Thebiable, Quran, Diamond Sutra, and Tao Te Ching to enlighten our wisdom and lay the psychological foundation for cultivation. Clouds rise and rain falls without intention, clear wind and bright moon reveal the mystery. Look at the 100-foot tree reaching the sky, bit by bit, it grows upward, referring to energy. Calm your mind and think carefully, in an instant, you can travel 100,000 miles. After 10 years of cultivation without enlightenment, once enlightened, you reach the jade pool. Excerpts from Thebiable. God looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. Psalm 53 verse 2. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. Romans 8 verse 6. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. 1 Timothy 4 verse 8. Do not fret because of those who are evil or be envious of those who do wrong, for like the grass they will soon wither, like green plants they will soon die away. Psalm 37 verses 1-2. Excerpts from the Quran. You see the mountains and think them firmly fixed, but they shall pass away as the clouds pass away. Such is the artistry of God, who disposes of all things in perfect order, for he is well acquainted with all that you do. Surah 20, 27:88. Whoever desires the harvest of the hereafter, we increase for him in his harvest. And whoever desires the harvest of this world, we give him thereof, but there is not for him in the hereafter any share. Surah 25, 42:20. On the day when men will be like scattered moths, and the mountains will be like carded wool. Then he whose balance, of good deeds, will be found heavy, will be in a life of good pleasure and satisfaction. But he whose balance, of good deeds, will be found light, will have his home in a bottomless pit. Surah 30, 101:4-9. O assembly of jinn and men! If you can pass beyond the zones of the heavens and the earth, pass ye. Not without authority shall ye be able to pass. Surah 27, 55:33. Excerpts from the Diamond Sutra. What is called Buddha Dharma is not Buddha Dharma. One should produce a pure mind, not dwelling on form, not dwelling on sound, smell, taste, touch, or Dharma. One should produce a mind that does not dwell anywhere. Leaving all phenomena is called all Buddhas. The Tathagata's attainment of the Dharma is neither real nor unreal. The Diamond Sutra has inconceivable, immeasurable, boundless merits. If one is despised by others, it is due to one's past sins, which should lead to the evil path. Because one is despised in this life, the sins of the past life are eliminated, and one should attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, the highest, most enlightened, and most wise. All dharmas are Buddha Dharma. If a person says that the Tathagata has a dharma to speak, he slanders the Buddha and cannot understand what I say. By cultivating all good dharmas without self, person, sentient beings, or lifespan, one can attain the highest, most enlightened, and most wise. If one sees me by form, seeks me by sound, this person practices the wrong path and cannot see the Tathagata. Translation: those who have achieved the highest, most enlightened, and most wise cannot maintain the appearance of emptiness. Translation: to reach a state without a competitive heart, a fighting heart, this is the highest state of man, the arhat beyond the highest state of the desire realm. All conditioned dharmas are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, like dewdrops in a lightning flash. Contemplate them thus. Excerpts from the Tao Te Ching. Act without action, and there is nothing that is not governed. Put others before yourself and you will be ahead, put others outside yourself and you will be preserved. The form of formlessness, the image of nothingness, this is called haziness. Meet it and you will not see its head, follow it and you will not see its tail. There are things mixed together, born before heaven and earth. Silent and void, standing alone without change, circulating without fail, it can be regarded as the mother of the world. I do not know its name, so I call it Tao, and I name it as great. Only those who do not contend, thus no one in the world can contend with them. Although there are glorious views, they dwell in transcendence. Good actions leave no trace, good words have no flaws, good calculations do not use counters, good closures have no key and cannot be opened, good knots have no rope and cannot be untied. Those who act will fail, those who hold will lose. Hold the great image, and the world will come. The Tao is always non-active, yet there is nothing it does not do. All things in the world are born of being, and being is born of non-being. The bright Tao seems dim, the advancing Tao seems to retreat, the smooth Tao seems rugged. The greatest straightness seems crooked, the greatest skill seems clumsy, the greatest eloquence seems tongue-tied. The greatest square has no corners, the greatest vessel is late in completion, the greatest sound has rare notes, the greatest image has no form, the Tao is hidden and has no name. The great Tao is very level, but people like to take shortcuts. Disaster is what fortune depends upon, fortune is where disaster subdues. A tree as big as a man's embrace grows from a tiny sprout. A tower 9 stories high begins with a heap of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles starts under one's feet. The way of heaven has no favorites, it is always with the good man. The way of heaven benefits and does not harm, the way of the sage is to act but not to contend. Above, it associates with the Creator, and below, it associates with those who are outside life and death and have no beginning or end. Zhuangzi. Words of Xiafeng. All non-active laws, there is no way to explain them. Coming like thunder and lightning, leaving like a dream. No emptiness, no reality, no sound, no silence, no boundaries, no limits, no moves, no postures. Invisible, untouchable, powerful. Cannot be stolen, cannot be hidden, unpredictable. Everything is it, yet it is not everything. Comply with it, everything goes smoothly, peace for 10,000 years. Resist it, full of bumps, disaster extends to descendants. The 18 Inevitable Factors. Xiafeng. August 16, 2005. Alright. We already know that there are 18 inevitable aspects of life that are beyond our control. So, what are these 18 inevitabilities composed of? They are karmic debts from past lives, ancestral inheritance, genetic factors, cosmic forces, feng shui, parental behavior, family environment, social environment, spouse, children, diet, dietary and living habits, mutations, beliefs, 7 emotions and 6 desires, appearances of the material world, personality, demonic pranks, celestial changes. The above 18 factors are the mainstream, each with about 10 subsidiary streams on average, thus constituting 180 factors. These 180 factors interact and intersect with each other to form nearly 1015 factors. This vast number of factors all affect human beings and have an impact. This is the root cause of humanity's perennial inability to fathom the mysteries of the universe and life, and it also accounts for the deep-seated reasons for the differences in individual lives and the inevitable factors of people's inability to effectively manage themselves. These factors, not to mention analyzing them one by one, even if a person counts them every day from the age of 3 for 24 hours a day, they wouldn't finish counting in 100 years. Going back 5,000 years and then forward another 5,000 years, in the river of human history, you won't find 2 people exactly the same in all aspects. Each person has their own life path, which is inevitable. Knowing this inevitability, accepting it, and living according to it makes you a human celestial being. Let us set aside the subsidiary streams and analyze the mainstream factors that constitute inevitability. Karmic debts from past lives. Water has a source, trees have roots, water circulates, roots grow and multiply. Everything in the universe has a source and cannot appear out of thin air. The total energy of the universe is constant, it neither increases nor decreases, but only transforms from one form to another. The so-called something from nothing does not mean appearing out of thin air. For example, a television set didn't exist before, but now it's manufactured, this is something from nothing. But without the designer's mind and the raw materials to manufacture the television set, it wouldn't appear out of thin air. It is often said that life is given by our parents, but this is a misunderstanding. Parents at most only give the body that carries life. A person's life exists eternally and continuously transforms in 10-dimensional spaces. It's just that the form carrying life is different. Animals, plants, and humans are all life forms, but the form, appearance, carrying life is different. Humans cannot create life, so life is not given by parents. Cloning does not create new life, it is just a replication technology. Without the original, nothing can be replicated, cloned. Humans have past lives. Please read the article The Reincarnated Girl in the magazine Reader to understand. If you think this article is fabricated, it's okay. Then ask the people around you if they have ever had a feeling of familiarity with a certain place, such as arriving at a place and vaguely feeling like they have been there before, especially in places where there has been little change. Due to the rapid development and change of modern cities, people's feeling of familiarity is becoming increasingly faint. The vast majority of people have no memory of their past lives, but just because there is no memory doesn't mean we should deny past lives. Most people have no memory of the process of their growth in their mother's womb about 10 days before birth. But we should not deny the fact that we spent a few days in our mother's womb just because we don't have memories of this part. We may not believe in the stories and teachings of the Bible, the Quran, or Buddhist scriptures, or in the views of theologians, but we should at least believe in the logical reasoning and facts of science, right? If you don't believe in anything, not even in facts, then you can only be said to be incredibly foolish and unable to understand. Let us get back to the main topic and look at the impact of karmic debts from past lives on our current life. First, imagine any prisoner in a prison during peacetime. Why is he imprisoned? It's not without reason. If you trace his history, you will find that his current predicament is not caused by a sudden impulse or overnight. When you trace the root cause, you must land on personality. In a sense, personality is destiny. So how is personality formed? Is it inherited from parents? If parents can pass on personality to their children, then the personality of all children born to the same parents should be the same. But in fact, this is not the case. The personality difference between siblings is quite large, even the personality of twins and conjoined people are different. This means that personality is not inherited from parents' personality. Comes from a person's past life. For example, if the carrier of your life in your previous life was a mouse, you would like to steal. You steal not entirely for food and clothing. You also know that stealing is easy to be chased and beaten, but you like it in your heart and can't help yourself. People who study criminal psychology and criminology know that some people commit crimes inevitably, which is related to the carrier of their life in their previous life. Those who are cunning, deceitful, and good at deceiving people, their previous life's life carrier is a fox. Those who can bear humiliation and heavy burdens, and are willing to work hard, their previous life's life carrier is a cow. People with shy, timid, cautious, and fearful personality, the carrier of life in their previous life is either a small antelope or a small deer. People with dull, inflexible, and persistent personality, the carrier of life in their previous life may be a plant. Like Hitler, Stalin, Mao Zedong, Roosevelt, Churchill, etc. are released from the negative black hole body. Sakyamuni, Muhammad, etc. come from the Elysium world. Some artists, musicians, etc. come from the 10,000-year world. Philosophers, thinkers, writers, etc. with perfect spirituality, reasonable, optimistic and friendly come from the 1,000-year world. Most ordinary people just transform spacetime. Their life carrier in their previous life is still human. I have talked about the cause and effect relationship many times. All fruits have causes, and nothing will appear out of thin air. To put it in profound words, it is called Tao. To put it in simple words, it is called karma. The Buddha said, good begets good, evil begets evil. It's not that there is no retribution, it's just that the time has not yet come. When the time comes, retribution is certain. That it basically summarizes the transformation and reincarnation relationship and law in the 36-dimensional spaces. For example, you have worked hard for 10 years and earned a sum of money, but it was cheated, stolen, or robbed by others. You are angry, painful, and puzzled. In fact, there is no need. What you lose is money, but what you get is spirituality. What you lose will be transformed into treasure and stored in a higher level of space. In the next life, where you store more treasure, you will go there. Those who get your money will plant the cause in the lower level of space, and after death, they must go to the space where they should go to pick the fruit. The process of suffering and sinning is the process of storing life treasures. And is the